was my favorite name. My mother-in-law, Janet, has this weird obsession with taking credit for everything good that happens in our family. When we painted our house blue, she told everyone it was her idea, even though she literally said it would look ugly. When my husband got promoted, she claimed she gave him the advice that made it happen. It's annoying, but I usually just let it slide. But last month at my daughter Emma's 3rd birthday party, Janet crossed a line I didn't even know existed. We were sitting around the kitchen table with my husband's whole family, and Janet starts telling this story about how she picked out Emma's name. She's going on and on about how she suggested it during my pregnancy, and how proud she is that we listened to her wisdom. The thing is, Emma has been my favorite name since I was like 12 years old. I had this babysitting job for a family with a little girl named Emma who is the sweetest kid ever. She had these huge brown eyes and would always draw me pictures of butterflies. I told myself right then that if I ever had a daughter, I'd name her Emma. I even wrote it in my diary like 50 times. I never told anyone this story, not even my husband Tyler, until after we got engaged. So when Janet is sitting there taking credit, I'm getting more pissed off by the second. She's telling everyone how she knew it was the perfect name, and how she had to convince us because we weren't sure. Complete lies. Tyler's just sitting there nodding along because he hates confrontation, and his dad is making those agreeable humming sounds. His sister Casey is on her phone but smiling like she's listening. Meanwhile, Emma is in the living room watching cartoons, totally oblivious to her grandma lying about her name. Finally, I couldn't take it anymore. Right in the middle of Janet's fake story, I said pretty loudly, "Actually, that's not true at all. You never suggested Emma's name. It's been my favorite name since I was 12. The whole table went dead silent. Tyler looked at me with those wide panic eyes he gets when he thinks I'm about to start drama. Casey actually looked up from her phone. Janet's face went bright red and she started stuttering about how she definitely remembered suggesting it. I pulled out my phone and showed them an old Instagram post from like 6 years ago, where I posted a throwback photo with that little girl I used to babysit. The caption literally said, "Future daughter's name right here," with a heart emoji next to Emma's face. Then I looked right at Janet and said, "You told us Emma sounded too old-fashioned, and that we should name her something modern like Kaylee or Brinley. Tyler, remember? You texted me about it because you thought it was funny." Tyler's face was getting red now too because he definitely remembered. He does this thing where he scratches his neck when he's caught between me and his mom, and he was doing it hardcore right then. Janet tried to backtrack and said maybe she misremembered, but I wasn't done. I told everyone about the babysitting story, and how I'd loved that name for over a decade. I even mentioned how I had a whole Pinterest board called Emma's Room that I made before I was even pregnant. The worst part was that Janet kept trying to interrupt me with these weak attempts to save face. She was like, "Well, I supported the name when you told us, but I shut that down too." I reminded her that she actually suggested we call Emma by her middle name Rose instead, because it was less common. Tyler's cousin Jake started laughing because he remembered Janet complaining about the name choice at Christmas that year. He said something about how she called it a basic white girl name, which made Casey snort. By this point, Janet was completely deflated. She was just sitting there picking at her napkin while everyone was either looking uncomfortable or trying not to laugh. I felt kind of bad for like 2 seconds, but then I remembered all the other times she'd stolen credit for stuff, and that feeling went away fast. The birthday party got super awkward after that. Janet barely talked for the rest of the day, and left early with some excuse about needing to check on their cat. Tyler was annoyed with me for embarrassing his mom, but I told him I was tired of her rewriting history to make herself look better.